Hello, welcome to Cinema Savvy. We hope you're all doing well. We are here with a very short, kind of impromptu update video on our James Bond Retrospective series. So if you've been following it, which we know a lot of people have, so thank you to everyone that has been watching it week to week. As I mentioned earlier, we hope that you're enjoying it as much as we are making it. We're loving this month. So much so that, in fact, we've decided to add a few extra videos in. So obviously, usual order of business, you're going to have one James Bond review a week up to the UK release date of No Time to Die. We're going to be doing a spoiler-free and a spoiler review on that particular film when it comes out. And, we were talking that would be it. That would be the end of the Bond retrospective, and we'd all be very sad because we're loving the community. We're loving everyone hyping it up week to week, especially with the Bond that we're hyping up for this upcoming Tuesday. We finished the Dalton era. We're moving into a new era with Brosnan, which we'll talk about in just a second. But we've added some new videos. So this is an update video of what you can expect for pretty much the month after No Time to Die has come out. So if you're loving the Bond stuff as much as we are, stay with the channel because it's not going to end with No Time to Die. We'll get onto that in just a second. But before we do, over to George with the socials.
Absolutely, guys. So as we said, this is obviously a very different video. I was going to say comment along with your thoughts, but we don't actually have any of them. So what I want to hear from you guys is let us know what videos you like to see us do, or the ones we do answer. If you're not watching it live, let us know what you're looking most forward to, because there's quite a few different things on here. But as we always say, social media, some of these videos are going to obviously get announced on here as well nearer the time. We'll have reminders and whatnot. So what we want to do is comment where you can find us, which is Facebook at Cinema Savvy, Twitter at cinema_savvy, letterboxd.com/cinema savvy, and of course we have a link to our TeePublic store in the description below. But as we said for this one, it's going to be very different. I don't even know how to proceed. Before we get into it, let's give a quick update. Because as I said, we are approaching the Brosnan era, and I think it is definitely worth mentioning right away. Joining us live this Tuesday, as we said last week, we're going to have the Spy Hards on with us. So they're celebrating their 1-year anniversary, and we're very lucky to get them on. We're going to be live at the usual time, 8 p.m. We'll bring up a couple of comments throughout the video. We'll be discussing Goldeneye, and they already have done a Goldeneye video, so go check that out. It was their first ever video, and the timing is purely coincidental, but worked out very well. So if you want a bit of homework, do have a look at that. And very quickly, side update. We, of course, as we've had new people on each week, we're going through our favourite Bond rankings. So we've so far had 9 people on, and these are the current standings. We have Roger Moore in the lead of 3, Sean Connery with 2, Brosnan with 2, Dalton with 2. Now, what is worth mentioning is that Chris, on the very first video we did, put Sean Connery as his favourite. There's nothing wrong with that. But we know you hadn't seen the Dalton or the Brosnan films or all of the Roger Moore films. So we kind of said ages ago, we'll let you switch that up at the end of the series. Because maybe it'll be Sean Connery. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
maybe
want to spoil it, but it might, at this rate in time, have a bit of edge to it that things might change because of that.
Yeah, and we don't know who we're going to have on for every single other Bond review, but we might even get some more people on, hopefully. It's always great to hear new opinions on the Bond films, so we might even have more ratings, and who knows, we don't know which way it's going to go, but if it falls to me to be the decider, that's going to be a lot of pressure on me. I don't know if I can withstand that pressure, but just thinking about it now, it's so difficult because each Bond that we've had so far is so unique and different in their own way, brings something new to the table with it. None are inherently bad so far, I don't think. Each one is very, very good. It's going to be bloody difficult for me when it comes to actually ranking it and we have that final walk-away winners. But yeah, we'll get to that when we get to it. We're here to talk about Brosnan at first. We're going to leave some of the other bigger updates for just a second. So obviously, as we mentioned, Goldeneye. George, you've been waiting to talk about this film probably way before we even did the Bond retrospective. Maybe when we first started talking about doing a Bond retrospective, when Spectre first came out, you were probably waiting to talk about this film. This upcoming Tuesday is finally your chance to talk about that said film. We have already obviously watched it. We'll talk about our story watching it in preparation for this review on Tuesday on the live show, but what are your thoughts at the moment going into this? Because, we've had, 16, 17 weeks, however many weeks it's been, we've finally reached it. I mean, it's absolutely flew by, but what's going through your head right now before talking about Brosnan on Tuesday?
It's both a blessing and a curse that, I love. I'm the same. I don't think there has been a bad Bond, right? And it's really unfair on Lazenby that he got one film and he wasn't the best thing in the film, but, it's the one I grew up with. It's the one I would... We'll get into it maybe on Casino or on Dine of the Day, but I don't know, but out of those two films, one of those two is the film I've seen the most. I'd never know because it depends on your age and what you've grown up with and whatnot. But the Brosnan film is to me where it's hit home. The first ever Bond film I watched was on. If we'll get into that, the video games growing up, and there's so much to take into account. But it also signals the home stretch of it being done, and that sounds like I want it to be done. I don't, but knowing that we're 4 films into Brosnan, we're 1 of 4 into Brosnan, then it's Craig, and then it's a new film, and it's kind of sad that it's going to go. Whereas the beauty and blessing of, and the curse of Roger Moore is that it's wonderful. There's 7, but that's such a length. That's almost 2 months of the videos that we did, and it's like a 1-2 punch. Dalton gone, and then it's Pierce Brosnan. So it's always very jarring when you get to it, sort of watching them. And I absolutely adore his films, and I know he's on a bit of resurgence on Twitter at the moment. I know that ITV is showing them weekly again, so I've got a lot of people sharing stuff all this time, and I'm excited. I know that you've not seen any of them, so I'm hoping I haven't overhyped him too much, but I know you've seen Goldeneye, which I'm very excited to talk about on Tuesday, because that is going to be an almighty review. And there is going to be we will say this, guys, it's not going to be over 3 hours. We just want to clarify. I mean, I would love to talk for 100 hours of Goldeneye, but I don't think I'd ever get the time, being absolutely honest.
I don't think we'd have the stamina either. I think we'd all be dead to the wind by that point, in all honesty. But I'm looking forward to talking about Goldeneye. That is going to be an immense review. I already can't wait. We're 2 days away from it at the moment. But it's also kind of bittersweet for me now that we've gotten to the Brosnan ones. I'm excited because it's a new Bond that I haven't seen all of the films from. But once, we wrap up with Die Another Day, that's the last new Bond film that I will have watched. And then by that point, I'll have watched them all. It's been a while since I've seen some of the Craig ones. So going back to the likes of Quantum and Skyfall will be like rediscovering those films from scratch again. But I have seen them. So, I've got 3 more Brosnan films to watch, and that's it. Then I'm all caught up with Bond. So that's kind of sad, because I've liked going into these blind every single week. I think that's been really interesting. But speaking of going week to week, I think we've made people wait long enough. So once again, I just want to say, thank you to everyone that's been sticking with it. And we hope you do continue to stick with it, because we're going to be unveiling the schedule now. So you're going to see the last remaining main Bond films that we're talking about, but we've decided to throw some extra videos in there as well. So let us know your thoughts on it as we bring up the graphic now.
Yeah, so nothing new on this page. Obviously, as for Goldeneye's coming this Tuesday, the 10th. With Spy House, that 17th, we have Tomorrow Never Dies. So we're still sticking with the Tuesday 8 p.m. slots. You don't need to worry about them. They're not going to change, but this is when it's going to get interesting. We have on the next page, this is where things change. So, I say things change 1 week, I guess we could say. Still got The World's Not Enough. Still got Die Another Day in place. Craig era, Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace. But you can see on the 16th of September, there is the lovely Bond 50th poster from 2012. And because what we're going to do is essentially on the 16th, that's a Thursday, we're going to have a James Bond themed tier list video. So we've kind of mentioned in the past, we're going to have other things we're going to talk about briefly, but we're going to throw that one in there first. That's going to be our first Bond non-film review, if we can even call it that. And of course, it's before the new films come out, because the Billie Eilish song has been out for almost 2 years at that point in time, which is also insane to say. She's already won a Grammy for it and the film's not come out. So we're going to do that first before we get to No Time. We're going to build up a bit of hype before No Time to Die. So we've got Thursday the 16th, we've got that. Then, of course, we're going to have on the Tuesday, we'll have Skyfall, which I'm very, very, very excited to talk about, the whole 50th anniversary. And then we're going to bring up the following page, because for those that are new to the channel, obviously, we had lockdown last year, this year, and whatnot, as we all did. And we were jumping on the quizzes, and we had a really fun time making quizzes. And it's something where I think that's what we did was it the Star Wars one, wasn't it, last year?
I think it was, yeah, it's been a while, yeah.
It was like a really fun head-to-head, and we kind of thought that we would love to do a James Bond quiz. So we're going to put that on for everybody at home. The way they work is that we will come up with all the questions between us originally. We'll have different rounds, different ideas. And when they are up, it will be live streamed, and you guys can watch it at home on demand. We don't do the answers until the end, or you guys can comment along with your scores as they go. So we're going to have a James Bond quiz. That is going to be Thursday, the 23rd of September. And we're going to make try and make it a big one, because that is also a week before No Time to Die comes out. And I am sticking to my guns, Chris. That film is coming out in the UK on the 30th of September.
We hope so.
My words.
We hope so.
I'm going to be
Otherwise,
the
we'll
one
look
that says
very
it.
silly.
No, you can say I'm going to be the guy that adamantly says it. It's coming out on the 30th of September. And if I'm wrong, then you can all do what you want and blame me.
Okay,
But,
I'll be the flip side. I'll be the ever pessimist. I'll say that it might get delayed. I hope it doesn't get delayed because, we've meticulously planned this thing out to perfection, week to week.
Yeah.
And if that gets shifted, I don't think I'll ever recover from the OCD that all roads led to that film, and now that road's going to be extra long. But we can always add some extra stuff in there if that does happen, but hopefully that won't happen. I'm really looking forward to No Time to Die. And obviously, I say we're going to milk it for all it's worth, but with it being a big film and with it being the last Daniel Craig film, there's going to be a lot to talk about that film. And also, we want to wait until people have had a chance to watch it as well internationally. So we wanted to move it closer to that release date, so it gives a bit of leeway and also gives us time to probably watch it multiple times. I can imagine that probably all of us as Bond fans are going to watch it at least 2 or 3 times before we get to that spoiler review. And also, it's good to sort of like let the movie settle, let you collect your thoughts on it. So we're going to have that spoiler discussion as well. So you get 2 videos from one film. So that's going to be very exciting. Of course, moving on from that, we're going to have our ranking video. That's going to be the 19th of October. That's going to be the big one. Now, we're still talking about the logistics of that. But George, you did a gargantuan Marvel retrospective before this one. This isn't our first retrospective. George helmed a Marvel Cinematic Universe one. Yes, 3 videos a week. It was a mad turnaround for that entire retrospective. But you capped it off with a really awesome video where you got everyone involved on the channel to give their top 10. You had a point system so that once they were all correlated at the end, you had kind of like a Cinema Savvy's own definitive top 10 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe films. It was a really fair, unique way of doing a tier list. And fingers crossed, we really hope we can do that with Bond as well, because, everyone has differing opinions on Bond. Some people have like really outlandish things in their favorite films. I don't know where No Time to Die is, not No Time to Die, Die Another Day is going to be on your top 10 list, George, even if it isn't your top 10. But I think that could be a really interesting video, and just, we've got to do a ranking video, haven't we? Once we've done all 25, it's like the full stop at the end of the sentence, isn't it? That top 10 ranking of all of our Bond films. I think that's going to be a really fun one to do. I can't wait to see how that turns out.
Yeah, that's the big one. As we said, there's a lot of logistics involved, and if you want to see what it's about, you can look at the Marvel one on the channel as well. And it was really fun. As I said, I feel really arrogant, but doing the F1 point system was great, because what it means is your number 1 has more weight to it in the system than the second place and third place. So your number 1 pick is going to ultimately get more points, and that shows the power of the first. And I know what a lot of people say: we can't rank the Bond films, it can change every viewing. Absolutely, I'm with you on that. If I ranked the Bond films today, it'd be different to what it's going to be in 8 weeks' time. If I ranked it 6 months ago, it's already different to what it is at the moment from rewatching them all. So we're going to see who we can get on. When we've got more details, we'll let you know. But you may clock in that schedule. There is a 2-week gap, so we'll have a little bit more time to settle on No Time to Die. Obviously, it's going to have a 6 years advantage on Spectre. But the main thing with that one is we're going to see what we can do. And I'm happy to say it's London Film Festival in those 2 weeks, so we don't want to put an early date in case we can't actually meet a release date for it. So keep that out. 19th of October, the James Bond rankings, and the 24th of October, you may see a gun barrel with a question mark in it. Why would that be, Chris?
So we're toying with the idea now, and it's kind of almost spawning off a show that you created. It's the same kind of basic premise, but the biggest question on everyone's mind, hence the question mark, after No Time to Die, who's going to be the new Bond? And I don't think we'll know by that date who the next Bond is. I think it's going to be a while before we know. So we're going to be kind of pitching our own Bond films. It's going to be sort of like a discussion / pitch show. It's probably going to be live. We're going to go away. There's going to be the 3 of us on there more than likely. And we're going to come up with our own Bond film. We're going to come up with a plot, the actor who we'd love to see play the new James Bond, an actor playing the villain or villains, the Bond girl, who'd be doing the music, who's directing it, who's doing the score, whole bunch of different parameters. We're going to be pitching the next James Bond film, and also kind of discussing who we think is the odds-on favorite to be the next James Bond. So it's kind of going to be an amalgamation of different things, but that is going to be the big question. And it's a fascinating discussion to have, because we're in that same boat again that, most people might have been in after, Pierce Brosnan finished before we got Daniel Craig. But you keep saying this, that, No Time to Die is officially the last, the first James Bond film where we know that is going to be the Bond actor's last film. So it's all in mysterious territory after that film comes out, and we're going to be trying to come up with our own ideas, and hopefully the Bond creators don't steal our ideas and turn it into a film. Or maybe, hopefully they do. If we come up with some really good ideas, we'll find out. Yeah.
Yeah, Barbara Brock, if you're watching, I'll let you know how you can contact me, because I will make a great villain, as in me picking one, not me, actually. That'd be awful. And you may think this would be a great way to finish off the whole thing, right? Discussing the future of the franchise. What's next? Who's next? What's going to be next? And we kind of thought the same thing. But then at the same time, we've also thought there's a couple of other things which we owe it to ourselves to cover. A couple of these we discussed many months ago and said we're not going to do it across the main series. We're doing official films only. And then a couple of other films have just come up in conversation so much, we said, it's time. We're going to get them out of the way. So, presenting the final month, and this, I say month, there's only a couple, we're going to be doing reviews on the original Casino Royale in 1967. Sean Connery's Never Say Never Again, which we both kind of mentioned. We've been umming and ahhing those two, haven't we? Let's be honest, between us since the very beginning. And I think as this series has gone on, I think we've 1,000,000% done the right thing in not talking about them or watching them until we do the main Eon series. And it's a lovely afterthought, but then nothing is as lovely as the Austin Powers trilogy, which I'm so excited for because we have never discussed it between us properly. And it's one of those, it's even weird to call it a franchise, right? The Austin Powers films are just incredible. And I think they've slowly resurfaced. If anyone's been on Twitter this week, you'll have seen the video of the Austin Powers at the Australian theme park, which has been incredible, seeing that footage of that bloke just dancing to it because that's his day job. And I think everything's pointing in that right direction to do the 3 Austin Powers films. And then we want to top it off with one of the greats as well, which is, of course, Johnny English. We're only doing the first one before anyone puts anything, the only one that matters. And that's going to cap off the entire... I mean, they're technically not Bond retrospectives at this point, but Johnny English, right at the end of November, is going to cap off what will have been 6+ months worth of videos at that point in time, which is incredible to think that we sit here in August now and we started this on Oscar week. Like, how are we going to start the Bond films when we've got... And again, we had up to the Oscar Sunday, we had Oscar films and Marvel films basically daily. And Bond has been a lovely, lovely sort of break past that, and by the time this is done, we'll be back in Oscar zones, which is insane to think about.
Yeah, I mean, like the original Casino Royale and oh god, I forgot the name of it. Never Say Never Again. It's kind of like almost like DLC, downloadable content. That's how I look at it. It's, to fully say we've done a complete James Bond experience, I think we had to talk about those films, and I'll be interested to see them anyway. They get brought up quite often. I think Never Say Never Again is going to be fascinating to watch, knowing that it came out at the same time as Octopussy. And, how do you do one better than James Bond once you've done everything there is to do about James Bond? You talk about the international man of mystery himself. So I think we knew pretty early on in this thing that we wanted to get onto the Austin Powers films eventually. It's by happy coincidence that we've been able to bring it into this retrospective in some way, shape or form. At the very end, we're going to have some fun with it. Watching those first few James Bond films, Dr. No, From Russia with Love, Goldfinger, Thunderball. There's loads of moments in that where it's just, in the early reviews, you can go back to them. I kept saying like, oh, it reminds me of Austin Powers. Austin Powers was such a great send up. I think that's going to be a real breath of fresh air to get to those ones. And then finishing with Johnny English, as we mentioned, just the first one, because the first one, and there is a James Bond link with this one, which I guess we'll talk about when we get to Johnny English, but it was co-written by Neil Purvis and Robert Wade, who are the co-writers, the screenwriters for 7 James Bond films, all the way from The World Is Not Enough to No Time to Die. So there is a James Bond link for the final thing when we talk about Johnny English. And a beautiful way to cap off, which has been an immense retrospective. But I've liked that we've thrown these extra videos in there because I think we would have been sad. We would have been lost. And we're probably going to feel lost after we've done that Johnny English review. But I feel like that's the perfect send-off to everything that we've done for all these months. Christ, when did we start? When was Dr. No? I'm trying to think.
End of April, last week of April. But it stops at the end of November because something's coming in December, which we can
December's a big month. December's
there's a lot of things happening.
Yeah. There's a certain anniversary for a certain film, and oh boy, are we going to cover that? Like, I'll make damn well sure that we cover that in December. I'm going to leave it there for now. But I think that's everything that we have to talk about, isn't it? I don't know if you've got anything else you want to add.
not necessarily Bond-wise. As we said, Goldeneye, Tuesday, 8 p.m, live on the dot. We're very, very excited for this one. It's been a while in the making. And I think on a side piece, as we get towards the more modern films, we can both finally put our own spins on it as well of what did we, I mean, not necessarily grow up with, but, you know, you had seen the Craig era at the cinema or before we've done these videos. So I think as we enter more modern territory, there'll be different experiences for everybody we bring on. Whereas a lot of the earlier ones, you know, obviously we both missed the Goldeneye. So many Bond fans I know, all of them, their first Bond film was Goldeneye. A lot of them say that. So it's very interesting. And I'm excited to see what conversations come about. As I said, Goldeneye this Tuesday. I want to hear from you guys at home. Let us know what videos you're looking forward to seeing. We'll put these schedules out on Twitter. We'll have some more details as well. There's a lot of Bond things coming. But the main thing is, you know, every Tuesday, we've still got the retrospectives up until No Time to Die. And the other video is obviously going to be out on the side. And we will bring them up nearer the time. I'm not just going to say it now and never again. We are going to talk about them in detail, and especially when we hit September, when we hit the Craig era, that's when things will be flowing, planning stuff like this. So it's very exciting. And maybe there could be one or two other videos. Who knows? I don't know at this time, but you never know what things are in stock. So if there was any changes, I hope there won't be changes in terms of dates. We'll unfortunately have to let you know in that regard.
Yeah, and for letting you know, there's a lot of information in this one video. So, watch it a bunch of times, rewind it, pause it, do what you got to do. But if it was a lot of information all contained in this one video, best way to follow us is on our social medias, where we'll be breaking it down week for week, hyping up what we're doing next, so you can stay up to date with all of that. That's Facebook at Cinema Savvy, Twitter at cinema_savvy. We're on letterboxd.com, where I'm sure we're going to be, listing off all the James Bond reviews as we go through them in a playlist. And if you want to pick up some of our merch as well, we've got the TeePublic link in the description down below, so please feel free to check that out. That'll do it from us, and we will see you in 2 days' time when we hit Tuesday, when we're talking about Goldeneye. It's going to be a good one. Hope to see loads of you there. Take care, everyone. We'll see you on the next one.